Hello, folks. I am Alan for today's news. I will be reading and speaking about world news, interesting news, news to keep you entertained, and news to keep you informed. Okay, first thing I got for you. Oh yeah, first of all, I want to let you know that my news yesterday came out late. It took 18 hours before it got uploaded and processed. I don't know because my screen went to sleep, slowed it down, or if it was too long. Anyway, I'm gonna try to keep my screen open when I process my news up on YouTube and see what happens. Anyway, the first thing I got for you today is from Al-Aqsa News. Wagner advances in Bakhmut as Ukraine gears up for counterattack. See what it says here.
Russian mercenaries say they have seized the center of Bakhmut as Ukraine's troops train for new offensives. Ukrainian service members fire a howitzer M119 at a front line amid Russia's attack on Ukraine, near the city of Bakhmut. File, Alexander Retushniak/Reuters. By John Sarapoulos. Russian forces spearheaded by mercenaries of the Wagner group seized the center of the eastern city of Bakhmut during the 58th week of the war. Yet Ukrainian defenders were still holding the Russian army at bay, and their commanders said the Russian offensive was now clearly waning. At the same time, pro-Russian civilians were evacuating southern occupied regions as thousands of Ukrainian soldiers completed their overseas training for a counteroffensive that could come later this month. Wagner mercenaries made advances into the center of Bakhmut on March 31st. Geolocated footage showed them within 400 meters, 1,300 feet, of the town hall. 2 days later, after an overnight battle Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky described as especially hot, geolocated footage showed Wagner founder Yevgeny Prigozhin raising a Russian flag over the city hall. From a legal point of view, Bakhmut has been taken, Prigozhin said in an audio message. Wagner was also understood to have gained complete control of the Azom industrial complex. By April 3, Russian forces had likely advanced in southern Bakhmut closer to the Avangard Stadium, and Russian military bloggers claimed on April 4 that Wagner forces captured the Bakhmut 1 railway station. Zelensky appeared to reassure Ukrainians wary of a repeat of the siege of Mariupol, when he said corresponding decisions would be made in Bakhmut as the situation developed. Some 2,000 Ukrainian soldiers were taken prisoner last year from the Azovstal plant when they were surrounded by Russian forces and were ordered to surrender. Yet Russia's attacks were fewer in number, Serhiy Cherevity, spokesman for Ukraine's eastern forces, said. If earlier the occupiers stormed our positions from 35 to more than 50 times a day, in recent days their number has decreased from 17 to 25, Cherevity said on April 1. The enemy will not be able to significantly change his so-called meter-by-meter tactics, and, as the Kharkiv operation showed, these meters occupied by the enemy return to us very quickly.
The link will be in my description box. Next one I got for you is from Al-Aqsa's Red Line Wood. This is from Red Line. World reaction to Israel attack. Let's see what it says here.
The UN, Turkey, US, Canada and several other countries and bodies have expressed shock and concern about Israeli forces storming the Al-Aqsa Mosque overnight, firing stun grenades and attacking Palestinian worshippers. The incident, which came as Muslims mark the holy month of Ramadan and Jews prepare to begin Passover, has raised fears of a wider conflagration. Palestinian fighters in Gaza responded to the Israeli attack with rocket fire, while Israeli planes attacked multiple sites in the besieged coastal enclave. Here is how the world reacted to Israel's attacks on Wednesday.
Okay, this thing here says shocking eyewitness footage from inside the mosque showing the Israel occupation forces mercilessly attacking Palestine Muslim to show this little video here.
Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Allah.
They are beating them to death.
United Nations. UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres was shocked and appalled by images of Israeli security forces beating people at the Al-Aqsa Mosque, his spokesman said on Wednesday. Stefan Dujarric said Guterres viewed images of the violence and beating within the holy site, and found it more distressing because it came at a time of a calendar which is holy to Jews, Christians and Muslims that should be a time for peace and non-violence. Places of worship should only be used for peaceful religious observances, he added. United States. The White House said it was extremely concerned and urged restraint by both Israelis and Palestinians. We remain extremely concerned by the continuing violence and we urge all sides to avoid further escalation, White House National Security Council spokesman John Kirby told reporters. It's imperative, now more than ever, that both Israelis and Palestinians work together to de-escalate this tension and to restore a sense of calm.
Yeah, here's another video here, 2.5 minutes.
Fireworks light up Islam's third holiest site as Israeli police move in during Ramadan prayers. Social media video from inside Al-Aqsa Mosque shows police officers beating people with baton.
I was only reading the Quran. The Israelis threw stun grenades and one hit me in the chest.
Israeli police say dozens of masked juveniles armed with fireworks, clubs and stones barricaded themselves inside. They say when attempts to coax them out peacefully failed, the police forced their way in. More than a dozen Palestinians and police officers were injured.
Al-Aqsa Mosque, despite all what is going on, is purely for Muslims and cannot be shared. Everything that is going on and happening by force will never be legitimate.
Okay, you can watch the rest of this. The link will be in my description box. I'll just go on with this reading here.
Turkey. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan condemned the Israeli police raid, calling such acts in the mosque compound a red line for Turkey. I condemn the vile acts against the first Qibla of Muslims in the name of my country and people, and I call for the attacks to be halted as soon as possible, Erdogan said. The name of this is the politics of repression, the politics of blood, the politics of provocation. Turkey can never remain silent and unmoved in the face of these attacks. Putting a hand on Al-Aqsa Mosque and trampling on its sanctity is a red line for us. Turkey denounced the attacks on worshippers as unacceptable, saying they violated its sacred character. Normalization with Israel has begun, but our commitment cannot be at the expense of the Palestinian cause and our principles, Turkish Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu said on the margins of a NATO gathering in Brussels. These attacks have exceeded the limit. Arab League. The Arab League called on the UN Security Council to intervene to halt Israeli crimes at the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound. In a statement issued following an emergency meeting in Cairo on Wednesday, the Arab League condemned Israeli assaults. Canada. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau criticized the Israeli government's inflamed rhetoric and urged it to change its approach to the Palestinians.
And there's more to read here if you want to read it. Jordan, Egypt, Germany, what they all say about it. Qatar, United Arab Emirates. The link will be in my description box. Got to go on the next one here. This from Al-Aqsa news. Brink of nuclear war. North Korea warning on military drills.
Pyongyang's state media publishes warning as United States and South Korea continue joint military exercises. North Korea has accused the United States and South Korea of escalating tensions to the brink of nuclear war through their joint military drills and promised to respond with offensive action, according to state media KCNA. A commentary published by KCNA on Thursday criticized the continuing exercises as a trigger for driving the situation on the Korean peninsula to the point of explosion. Attributed to Cho Joo-hyun, an international security analyst, the article added, "The reckless military confrontational hysteria of the U.S. and its followers against the DPRK is driving the situation on the Korean peninsula to an irreversible catastrophe, to the brink of a nuclear war." DPRK is the acronym for the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the formal name for North Korea. Now the international community unanimously hopes that the dark clouds of a nuclear war hanging over the Korean peninsula will be removed as early as possible, it added.
You can read the rest of this in my description box. All the links will be down there. Go on to the next one here. This is from Al-Aqsa News. Genesis, a dark web marketplace, shut down global operation.
"17 countries were involved in a multinational crackdown dubbed Operation Cookie Monster, which resulted in about 120 arrests." Screenshot of seized Genesis Market website reading "This website has been seized," Reuters. Law enforcement agencies from multiple countries, including the Federal Bureau of Investigation, have seized a sprawling dark web marketplace popular with cyber criminals, arresting dozens, United Kingdom's National Crime Agency, NCA, said on Wednesday, in an operation dubbed by the FBI Operation Cookie Monster. British authorities said 17 countries were involved in the operation, led by the FBI and Dutch police, which resulted in about 120 arrests, more than 200 searches and almost 100 pieces of preventative activity. Genesis Market, an online forum, hosted about 80 million credentials and digital fingerprints stolen from more than 2 million people, NCA estimated. "We assess that the Genesis is one of the most significant access marketplaces anywhere in the world," said Rob Jones, the NCA's Director General of Threat Leadership. United States Justice Department Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco said in a statement many of the forum's users were arrested on Tuesday. A senior FBI official said arrests had been made in the U.S. but declined to provide further details. The investigation into Genesis is still ongoing. The U.S. Treasury Department, in a statement announcing sanctions against the market, called it one of the most prominent brokers of stolen credentials and other sensitive information.
Okay, this one here wasn't about the IRS thing. This is a different one from these crooks stealing people's identity. And let's go to the next one. This from Bloomberg. China restraint on Taiwan shows as bigger concerns right now.
Bloomberg, after former U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi touched down in Taiwan last year, it took less than an hour for China to announce missile tests and military drills encircling the island. Beijing's initial reaction to President Tsai Ing-wen's unprecedented meeting on U.S. soil with House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has been muted. Although China released statements condemning the meeting and sent an aircraft carrier in waters just south of the main island, Taiwan's defense ministry said Thursday morning it detected only one Chinese military aircraft and 3 vessels in the surrounding region over the past 24 hours. Chinese President Xi Jinping has several reasons to hold fire for the moment, even if he plans a more aggressive military response in the coming days. For one, he's currently hosting French leader Emmanuel Macron and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen in an effort to win support for his vague blueprint to bring peace to Ukraine, and to counter U.S. efforts to block China's access to new technology like advanced semiconductors. After arriving in Beijing Wednesday, Macron said he didn't see a will to overreact from China and praised the personal time he was getting from Xi in the next few days. Brazilian leader Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is also set to visit China next week. If Beijing seriously raises military tension at this juncture, it would make life very difficult for von der Leyen and Macron, and take the wind out of the sails of any European-China dove voices for a long time, said Wen Ti-sung, a specialist on Taiwanese politics and cross-strait relations at Australian National University.
Okay, you're going to read the rest of this in my description box. There's a lot of news I got to go here. And I don't want to go too far. Well, I'm 16 minutes now. Now, this is what I was talking about. Hackers wiped out this popular tax prep software as filing deadline looms. That was IRS approved.
The IRS-authorized tax preparation software service eFile.com recently suffered a JavaScript malware attack in the middle of tax season, according to Bleeping Computer. The nefarious JavaScript file has been identified as popper.js and has been observed by eFile.com users as well as by security researchers. The malware is believed to have surfaced on the service around mid-March and has interacted with almost every page of eFile.com, at least up until April 1st, the publication added. Encountering this infected JavaScript on eFile.com would likely result in seeing a broken link, which is returned by info@amanawanliag.online. Users of the service began discussing the possibility of an attack on Reddit on March 17th, noting that an SSL error message they were receiving appeared to be fake.
And there's more to read on if you want to read more about it. Next one here I got from, oh yeah, that one was from Digital Trends. Next one I got for you from CNBC. These are the countries that will be most hit if oil prices reach $100.
On Sunday, OPEC Plus announced a production cut of 1.16 million barrels per day, in a move that oil markets were not expecting. Some analysts are forecasting oil prices to be driven up to $100 per barrel. It's a tax on every oil importing economy. It's not the U.S. that would feel the most pain from $100 oil, said Raymond James Managing Director Pavel Molchanov. The surprise output cut by OPEC and its allies sent oil prices rallying, and analysts say major oil importers like India, Japan and South Korea will feel the most pain if prices hit $100 per barrel, as some have predicted. On Sunday, OPEC Plus announced a production cut of 1.16 million barrels per day, in a move that oil markets were not expecting. It's a tax on every oil importing economy, said Pavel Molchanov, Managing Director of private investment bank Raymond James. It's not the U.S. that would feel the most pain from $100 oil, it would be the countries that have no domestic petroleum resources, Japan, India, Germany, France, to name some of the big examples, Molchanov said.
And if you like, you can read the rest of this in my description box. Next one I got for you here is from Benzinga. Inflation is about to plummet, Wall Street firm says. Here's when things should get back to normal.
According to Bank of America Securities, the U.S. economy will enter a phase of sustained disinflation, which will intensify over the remainder of 2023. B of A affirms inflation is following a mean reversion trend, which is consistent with the fall in inflationary surprises since May 2022. The view is that a mild recession in the second half of the year and an ongoing deflation in goods should lead to a marked slowdown in overall inflation next year. The U.S. economic team at B of A predicts that CPI inflation will fall to roughly 4% by the end of second quarter 2023, then converge to the Fed's 2% target by the end of 2024.
And there's more to read if you want to read more about it. Let's see what it says down here. Where was it? Anyway, you can read the rest of my description box. Next, what I got for you here is from Hot Cars. Here's what happens when Tesla Roadster batteries reach end of life.
First produced its EV Roadsters in 2008, and their batteries are finally dying in 2023. That's 5 years past their expected lifespan, but all that time doesn't make getting a new battery pack easy. It can take years to get a new Tesla battery. People like Pete Gruber from Gruber Motor Company have a solution to extend the Tesla Roadster battery life. He can get another year to 3 years out of some Tesla batteries if repaired soon after a cell dies. This prevents battery failure from stranding electric car owners while they wait for a new battery pack. Tesla's biggest Roadster battery success has been its first-gen battery. This battery still powers most Tesla Roadsters today. But all good things have to come to an end. This end could further tarnish the original Tesla Roadster's reputation, which survived near failure due to safety recalls in the past. Despite this, Tesla Roadsters are currently gaining value as some of the first EV collectible cars. Related, the first Tesla, Doug DeMuro reviews the 2008 Tesla Roadster. Symptoms of Tesla Roadster batteries' end of life. Many EV drivers wonder how they will know when their battery is reaching its end of life. The biggest indicator that the battery is declining is loss of power. Some vehicles will fail to get to highway speeds or have trouble ascending hills. Others increasingly lose range. Some Tesla owners have described their battery end-of-life experience as a sensation of the pedal being squishy. This comes from diminished power leading to slower acceleration. Once Tesla drivers notice a performance decline caused by battery loss, it worsens over the next few months. Eventually, the car will not be able to get them to their destination. 2016 Tesla Roadster battery upgrades were an end-of-life test run. In 2016, Tesla offered its Roadster owners a battery upgrade that would extend its range and lifespan. Original batteries had an expected range of 200 miles, and the new battery would extend that to 400 miles.
And you can read the rest of this in my description box if you like. Let's go to the next one here. This is from the Associated Press. Challenge to Biden. Cost of carbon policy dismissed.
New Orleans, AP, a lawsuit that Louisiana and other Republican-leaning states filed challenging figures the Biden administration uses to calculate damages from greenhouse gases was dismissed Wednesday by a federal appeals court. The unanimous decision by 3 judges on the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans was the latest defeat for states challenging the Biden cost of carbon policy. It leaves the administration to continue using a damage cost estimate of about $51 per ton of carbon dioxide emissions as it develops environmental regulations. That estimate is under review by the administration and could increase. The Biden cost estimate had been used during former President Barack Obama's administration. President Joe Biden restored it on his first day in office after the administration of former President Donald Trump had reduced the figure to about $7 or less per ton. A federal judge in Louisiana had ordered a halt to the administration's approach early last year after the states filed a lawsuit. The states said the policy threatened to drive up energy costs while decreasing state revenues from energy production.
And you can read the rest of this in my description box. There's more to read. Let me go on to the next one. This is from Ukrainska Pravda. Okay, however you say it. Russian Defense Ministry building is on fire in center Moscow.
A fire has broken out in the Defense Ministry building on Znamenka Street in the center of Moscow. Source: Russian Kremlin-aligned news outlet TASS, citing emergency services. Details: one of the buildings of the Russian Defense Ministry at 19 Znamenka Street is reportedly on fire. The fire has been rated second out of 5 possible levels of difficulty. Emergency services are working at the scene. Telegram channel 112 has posted footage of smoke over the Defense Ministry. According to the channel, the source of the fire is located in an office on the 5th floor. Update: TASS later reported, citing the same emergency services, that the fire in the Russian Defense Ministry building was allegedly caused by a power grid emergency.
And that's all on that one. The link will still be in the description box if you want to reread it. Here's one here from LA Times. Russian charged with war crimes. Ukrainian children can go home.
Russia's Commissioner for Children's Rights, who is being sought for war crimes for deporting children from Ukraine, told a UN meeting Wednesday that they were taken for their safety and that Moscow is coordinating with international organizations to return them to their families. Ambassadors from Western countries boycotted the informal UN Security Council meeting, sending low-level diplomats instead. And diplomats from the United States, Britain, Albania and Malta walked out when Maria Lvova-Belova started to address the meeting by video link. The International Criminal Court last month issued an arrest warrant for her and Russian President Vladimir Putin, accusing them of abducting children from Ukraine. Russia, which holds the rotating presidency of the Security Council this month, called Wednesday's meeting to counter what it claims is disinformation about the Ukrainian children. U.S. Ambassador Linda Thomas-Greenfield told reporters before the meeting that the United States strongly opposed the briefing and joined the UK in blocking the United Nations from outside broadcast of the meeting. Lvova-Belova should not be allowed to have an international podium to spread disinformation and to try to defend her horrible actions that are taking place in Ukraine, Thomas-Greenfield said.
And there's more to read if you want to read more about it. I know Putin don't want to call it a war, but after the war is over, there'll be more war crimes going on, catching people. After World War II, they was catching people years later, decades later. Okay, the next one I got from you is CNN. In the dark depths of the Pacific, U.S. submarine patrol with an eye fixed firmly on China.
Hundreds of feet below the surface of the Pacific Ocean, cocooned within one of the U.S. Navy's most technologically advanced pieces of equipment, Rear Admiral Jeff Jablin is clear-eyed about the 2 biggest challenges his team faces. In today's world, we are facing 2 nuclear peer adversaries where we've never had that before, he explains on board the USS Mississippi, a nuclear-powered, fast-attack submarine belonging to the U.S. Pacific Fleet. The Soviet Union, and now Russia, was our peer adversary with respect to nuclear capability. We're now facing China, which has expanded and modernized their nuclear capabilities. Earlier that day, the Virginia-class submarine had left its base at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii and slipped below the waves into the world's largest ocean on a routine mission. Throughout the vessel, some 130 sailors were at their stations carrying out a host of well-honed tasks.
And if you want to read the rest of this, there's more to read. It'll be in my description box. Here's something from the cool down. Dell will give you major discounts in exchange for your old laptops and computer supplies. Here's how to take advantage.
Dell has launched a program, Dell Reconnect, that will help you get rid of all of the unused electronics around your house and save you money at the same time. All you have to do is send in your old electronics to receive credit toward a Dell product. In Dell's words, it's the best way to say goodbye to your favorite device. How does the Dell Reconnect program work? The program is simple. The service will prompt you to answer some questions about your device. It might be helpful to have it near you so you can get to the information easily. The site will ask questions about the model, if it is damaged, and its storage capacity. It will give you a quote for how much credit you'll receive and give you directions about how to send the product in. Once it's there, you will then receive store credit. From there, the materials are recycled and reused. The best part is that this program is available for any electronics. It does not have to be a Dell product. Why should I turn in my electronics? Programs like Dell Reconnect are the perfect way to get rid of the electronics cluttering up your house with little hassle while saving you money. They also allow you to upgrade your technology more regularly. You won't need to save up for as long for a new device if you're turning in your old one and other old electronics at the same time. An added bonus to saving money and decluttering your house is that these programs are great for the environment. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, the average American household uses about 28 electronic products. These electronics contain a variety of materials, such as gold, palladium, and platinum, that require considerable time and money to obtain. Throwing out electronics composed of these materials instead of recycling them and reusing the material is a waste. The EPA reports that harvesting these materials uses large amounts of energy, which creates planet-warming gases while simultaneously exhausting our limited natural resources. Additionally, when these materials end up in landfills, they leach toxic chemicals that pollute the air and waterways, the recycling website, Scrapware, reports. Are there similar programs to Dell Reconnect? Yes. There are similar programs for electronics as well as other items. This program by Staples allows you to turn in old electronics, and so does this one from Amazon. If you're looking to recycle a camera, Nikon has a great trade-in program for cameras. Join our free newsletter for weekly updates on the coolest innovations improving our lives.
Enough of that one there. That's the whole article there. I figured that was informational. And in case you got some old computers and stuff, if you do turn in your old computers, make sure you wipe out the hard drives. Try to wiping them out a couple of times, make sure they're clean. Anyway, let's go to the next one. It'll be my last one here. This is from Metro. Russia gains key intelligence after salvaging remains of downed U.S. drones. Russia
may have gained some key intelligence after salvaging the wreckage of a U.S. drone downed by a Russian jet from the depths of the Black Sea, according to a new report. The destruction of the high-tech American MQ-9 Reaper on March 14 in international airspace flying off annexed Crimea caused a major diplomatic incident last month. Now Moscow claims to have recovered the drone's onboard electronic equipment and obtained invaluable information about the characteristics of a number of critical MQ-9 Reaper radioelectronic components. The wreckage was estimated to have sunk to depths of up to 2,950 feet before it was recovered by a Russian deep-sea salvage team. Included in the salvage was an N/AAS-52 multispectral optronic turret system, an N/APY-8 surface reconnaissance radar system, a Link 16 data exchange system, and secure telemetry and satellite communication stations, says a report by Svobodnaya Pressa. The drone debris was reportedly examined by specialist Russian laboratories, including at the Central Research Institute of the Airborne Forces of the Russian Ministry of Defense. Russia believes it can develop electronic warfare jamming technology to thwart the MQ-9 Reaper reconnaissance drones as it passes data to satellites, says the report. It accuses the U.S. of passing intelligence from the drone to the Ukrainian armed forces. Russian naval vessels were known to have mounted an operation in the Black Sea to recover the downed drone. Russia last month honored 2 Su-27 pilots it said were involved in the downing of the Reaper.
Okay, there's more to read about that if you want to read about that. You know, we're losing all kinds of equipment to other countries, and they're taking them apart, examining them, and figuring them out, and trying to get information off of them. So, I hope I gave you some information. I hope you like what I had here. 35 minutes into the news this time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, come back once in a while at least. And I thank you for watching. Until next time. Later.